Let's go back for a moment to Panama City Beach. I've seen the girls in the video.
See, that's interesting. You know, I've never seen that video, and I understand Mr. Meadows played it for you.
It's quite obvious that neither of them is physiologically developed as an adult.
I've never seen the video.
Why didn't that raise alarm bells with your cameraman?
Physiologically, Martin, is 17-and-a-half-year-old is not physically logical developed? I mean, Martin,
17
really?
and 1 month and 17 and 3
Martin,
months.
the cameramen are independent contractors. Mr. Francis wasn't present in the room. He had not met the girls. He did not know the filming was occurring. In fact, he was not aware of it until after the fact when the girls asked to be introduced to him.
Martin, tell me the physiological development between an 18-year-old and a 17 and 1 month-year-old. Is there physiological development? Could you, Martin, could you tell me there's a physiological, could you get an expert on to say there's physiological development between a 17-and-a-half-year-old and an 18-year-old?
What I'm saying to you...
Wait, I'm asking you a question, because I answer your questions.
It's quite clear from their breasts, from the way they appear, that they are not adults.
Okay, Martin,
why
do you
think...
think... Oh, so Martin, so
sorry,
you're...
let me just ask you.
What basis are you holding that on? What basis is that on?
Okay, let me quote...
Is this your own?
Let me quote State Attorney Steve.
Okay.
He says in an interview, "I don't believe they look 18. The impression is just what they are, a couple of young girls who left high school class just a few hours before."
Martin.
Okay, Martin.
Mr. Francis wasn't present. How could he
Yeah.
appreciate
Right.
their physiological development? And we haven't seen the tape up to today's date, even though Mr. Meadows will show it to you.
Don't you think it's unusual that Mr. Meadows has a little screening party with you and your crew and
I'm
everything?
not disclosing who showed me the tape.
Well, we
He
know
says-
because it was already disclosed to us by your people who were in the room.
Mr. Meadows describes...
Hold on, are you telling me Mr. Meadows didn't show you the tape? Oh, look, I answer your questions as honestly.
I'm doing the interviewing, you're the subject.
I understand.
We'll continue on that basis. Mr. Meadows describes this filming as child pornography. He's right, isn't he? They're
No.
children.
No.
They're children.
Look, it's ridiculous. Martin, look, I haven't seen the tape, but now I
So
understand.
how do you know?
Well, can I ask you questions? Do they have tattoos and things on them?
Let me go on.
Oh, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Do they have tattoos? Because you have to be 18 to get a
I'm
tattoo.
asking you some questions.
Someone asked you, do they have tattoos?
Actually, you don't have to be 18. Let me just continue
well,
for a
because
moment.
I have the document.
It's also clear that neither individual is naturally interested or experienced in homosexual activities. Again, why didn't your cameraman realize that when he was asking them to do things, they were reluctant?
Okay, all I have to tell you is I've never seen the tape. I know Mr. Meadows showed you and your crew the tape, but I have never seen the tape. Now, that tape has been characterized to me very differently, like they were, at least one of them was fully enjoying her experience, and to the point where if you
I've seen the tape.
Okay, have you seen her written release where she writes with a little heart, make me a copy of the tape?
I've seen the tape.
Yeah.
But Martin, how can we fairly discuss a tape that Mr. Francis was not involved in, has never seen, and you're asking him for his opinion about a tape that was done by an independent contractor
Because the contractor was employed by his company.
No, employed is the wrong word. An independent contractor means just that. He films and then sells the tape.
I hear the distinction.
But Martin,
let me
here's another question.
Let me continue.
Okay, so Martin,
I just want to put this to you.
It's ridiculous.
It's clear that these two young girls were not lesbians.
Martin, is it? Really?
You know,
because Martin, you should see our investigative report. Because they've had quite a few lesbian relationships that we have documented. That I'll be happy to... It's clear to you, right?
Let me quote...
In your lesbian expertise, in your study of women's lesbian activity, you are clear. Just like developmental, you're an expert on developmental, on women's developmental bodies. You can tell the difference between an 18-year-old and a 17, 3-month-year-old.
Let me just...
Right? Is that what you're telling me, though? Okay.
State Attorney Meadows...
I just want to be sure.
Again, State Attorney Meadows says this, that you put them into a setting in which they were extremely uncomfortable, and there was a great deal of intimidation and coercion.
Really? I wasn't involved.
Your company.
Oh, my company.
To get them to perform the acts you wish them to.
Really, Martin? Well, read their depositions because they said, we fully wanted to do it, we were excited to do it. Read their own words, because their own words are, we seeked out a Girls Gone Wild crew because we heard they were in town. We asked to be filmed by them. We agreed to be filmed by them, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Nobody made us do anything. Those are their own words in their depositions. Why their own words.
Why does the cameraman offer them an incremental set of inducements to perform various.
I don't understand what. I don't understand the
Well,
question.
first of all,
It
why do you
starts at
presume?
$50.
Why do
it
you
goes up to
presume he knows
$400.
this? Why
I
is
wasn't
this
there.
fair? How would he possibly know what you are telling him in reference to what a independent camera person does
Because Mr.
in a room
Francis'
where he's not present?
Mr. Francis's lawyer allegedly has seen the tape.
Mr. Francis's lawyer allegedly saw the tape last week. It's been in existence for 4 years. The consequence of which is you're asking specific questions as though he was there,
Okay, let me
as though he
generalize.
participated.
Do you-
It's not true.
when you film people, do you induce them with money?
I don't personally film them.
When those representing your company.
Sure, Martin. Do you? I mean, do people pay people for a performance? Yes, people pay actors for a performance. Absolutely.
Are you aware that on this tape,
Let's not call it a deuce. Do you pay a fee for a performance? Yes, sometimes we do.
can I
Let's not induce.
I'll put the,
Induce is mischaracterization.
I'll put the scenario to you.
Sure.
What's clear in the video is that there's a reluctance by these two girls.
Can I
to
ask you
do
a question?
certain things.
Can I ask you a question?
Because,
Because-
can you just answer-
But-
let me ask you the question.
All right, but did you see the whole video? How much of the video did you see? Or did you see? Because what I understand,
I
it
saw
starts
it.
off with them signing releases, giving consent. Did you see that part of the video?
I saw a considerable amount of the video.
Did you see the part where they're signing releases and giving consent?
I don't want to disclose what I saw. It's irrelevant.
Well, we know what you saw because you videotaped seeing it, and the viewers need to know as well
The viewers-
that you viewed this tape and Steve Meadows played it for you
Okay.
in the
Let me just
with Bill Lewis and Araj and everybody else.
This is a very important issue. This is a
Okay,
very important
all right.
issue. In the video, these young girls are reluctant to perform certain sexual.
I haven't seen the video.
I'm
I know
describing-
Mr. Meadows played
I'm
it for
des-
you, but I haven't seen
I'm
it.
describing it to you.
Well, but I've heard a very different characterization of the video. So your description and your interpretation of the video and the setting in which you watched it in is completely different. When my lawyer told me, he's like, they were thoroughly enjoying themselves.
Mr. Francis, I play no part in your litigation. I don't represent the court. I don't.
But you have an opinion, and you're about
I
to
am-
characterize your interpretation of a video to millions of potential people,
If I could be
and
allowed to
thousands
put a
of potential
question-
jurors.
Well, let's ask. Go ahead and ask the question. but-
It's your characterization. It's your characterization that they look. You're not an expert on developmental people with 17 and 3 months and an 18-year-old. I bet you couldn't be an expert if I lined up a bunch of people. You couldn't tell me he was 18 and he was 17.
One of the things that happens in the video.
You're taking a lot of liberties here, Mr. Bashir. You really are.
Can I just put this to you?
Sure, but don't characterize something as your opinion.
Allow me to put what
Sure.
I need to put to you, and then you can decide how you respond.
Absolutely.
In the video, the girls appear reluctant to perform certain sex
To you.
acts.
Please say to
Your
you.
opinion.
In your opinion.
Actually, no. They actually say, no, we don't want to do that. On 2 occasions.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Okay, but I'm telling you that's what happens. So they're offered inducements, and these inducements begin at $50, rising up to $400. Again, I ask you this question. If you're confronted by 2 young people who are reluctant to do certain
Well,
things,
are they being forced to do it?
sorry, who are reluctant to do it without the financial inducement, does that not raise concerns?
We wouldn't do that, and Mr. Francis wouldn't do that if they expressed concerns to him. If Mr. Francis had been present and they indicated they weren't comfortable going forward, it would not have occurred.
So if that was you in charge, that would not have happened.
This whole thing wouldn't have happened if it was me in charge because it would not have happened. It's just the whole thing would.
Do you think that cameraman was simply manipulating these girls for money?
It's really unfair, Mr. Bashir, for us to make a comment on an individual who's been charged with a crime in that city, and it's not our purpose to ascribe blame or responsibility to that particular cameraman. That's for his counsel.
Stop, we're going to
Mr.
change
Bashir-
tape, and then we're going to keep it.
Okay.
That's great, thank you. That's good. Excellent. You're doing great.
The thing is, characterize things. Are your opinion? Because I haven't seen.
Hey, Ken, you're gonna have
You
to
can't characterize things I haven't seen.
take your time out.
You know, it's like
I don't think Bill Black has told you, but he should have told you.
really.
He said,
Really?
here's we haven't seen it. Black just saw it. What Black
You need
relates?
to see it.
Yeah, and
Really?
so
You need to see it. Black doesn't need to. You need
Well,
to
I
see
need to see it too, don't you think? But they won't let us see
But
it.
here's one of our major things.
Well, hold on, wait, Mark.
Are you guys rolling up there?
Are you gonna tell viewers that you have seen it and who should?
The viewers will be quite clear about how I came across that.
so everyone's clear, I'm not rolling, but the court is. Okay.
Yeah, we know.
Okay, no, we're.
So
I'm not rolling out, but the court is. Just so you
yeah,
know. They're
well,
rolling.
the court continues to roll. It never stops.
Dave, I'm going to change cake too, Dave.
Oh, well, that's good, because then we'll say all the bad stuff right now. Go ahead. No, but